My earliest memories of my grandfather, that would have been my father's father, are of a man in a pressed white shirt, cufflinks, and a tie, running around his house in his boxer shorts, screaming at my grandmother. He was very well educated and extremely successful in business, but he was an alcoholic. And instead of calling him on his behavior, my grandmother walked on eggshells to keep the peace in her home. So my father, he learned to walk on eggshells to protect her. Meanwhile, 4, 5, 6-year-old me witnessed all this unhealthy behavior from my grandfather. And by the way, I know this will come as a shock, but as a family, we never talked about any of it. No one ever said that something was wrong with his behavior. So for me, a child witnessing this, I figured his behavior, the way that he treated us, the way that he treated my grandmother, was normal. And even worse, I thought it was acceptable. As my grandfather grew increasingly irrational and impossible to deal with, no one suggested getting him help. No, instead, as a family, we all rearranged our life to keep his alcoholism going. My father simply took responsibility for the things that my grandfather let go. For instance, my father took over my grandfather's business, though he had no desire to do so. And in doing that, he moved my beautiful mother back to southwestern Pennsylvania instead of giving her the life that he had promised her in New York. He did all this because his mother, my grandmother, said, "I need you." The ultimate drug for the enabler, I need you. The result of all this effort was not my grandfather's recovery from alcoholism, surprise, surprise. No, the result, with all these enablers picking up the pieces, how could he even know that there was a problem? No, the result was passive-aggressive behavior in my parents' marriage and we children being exposed to my grandfather's alcoholism. Eventually, but not surprisingly, our sweet father, who had stuffed his feelings and his desires for so long, became an angry alcoholic. My mother became his enabler, and we children learned to walk on eggshells in our own home. And that brings us to our third and perhaps most critical lesson on the road to recovery. The truth is, enabling like addiction is a hereditary disease. Left untreated, enabling is hereditary. It goes from generation to generation, and we are living proof. The truth is, I did not end up married to an addict by mistake. If I had not found Edward, I would have kept searching until I found an addict to marry. That addiction-enabler relationship is the only family relationship I had ever known. It was the only way I knew how to be. My brothers fulfilled the alcoholic side of that. We girls became enablers extraordinaire. Please know that we are in no way blaming our parents. They were great people who loved us and gave us so much. Everything they did because they thought it was the right thing to do. But then that's the point. That's exactly what I did to my own husband, and that's exactly what I would have done to my own child if I had not been brought so low by my own enabling that I was left with only myself to look at and no addict left to blame.